It's Thursday. Let's chat. So I'm back out in the shop with my quilt. I'm going to baste this quilt today and put that on. I feel like it's still sticky. I laid the top on here. Still sticky. I've got it kind of lined up, so I'm gonna film that. I've been so busy this week. I did a lot of cross stitch. I'm almost done with one of mine called The Great Outdoors. When it's finished, I'll show you. Then I baked bread. Do you mill your wheat? I started doing that this past year, and I finally figured it out, and I've got some nice loaves coming out. So I've just been baking all our own bread so we don't have to have all the processed stuff. And that's going to have a funny bread story that I thought of remembered the other day. Our son, he might have been about 8, and we were living on the farm, and I always baked our bread. My husband would buy a big 50-pound bag of whole wheat, and we'd put it in the bin, and I just baked our bread. So that's what my kids knew. Well, he went to spend the night at a friend's house, and he came home the next morning and he says, "Mom, did you know you can buy bread in the store and it's white and soft and fluffy?" And I said, "Really?" And he said, "And I looked at the bag for you. It says Wonder." And we thought that was so cute. And I tried to explain to him that the whole wheat bread, and my thinking at the time, of course, which I still think, is much better for you than the Wonder Bread. And that's what they knew. And now they like my wheat bread again as adults. Well, they liked it then. That they had no choice for quite a few years. But that was fun. But I like baking bread, and I've been doing that. And Grains and Grit had a muffin video on YouTube that I followed and made it with my blueberries from our yard that I had frozen, and they were such good muffins. And maybe because we're used to the whole wheat and the fresh ground flour taste, that we thought they were so good. Anyway, let's get on to basting this quilt, and then I might meet you back in the sewing room after I'm done. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, I already lined up. It still feels sticky. I opened it all up. It still feels sticky from my spray last week. I lined the center of the quilt, and of course I could see because of the seam along the center of the batting. I first, felt for the safety pin that was underneath. But a little bit of the borders I felt weren't quite, maybe I didn't spray them quite enough, so I added a little spray. So I'm just kind of smoothing and smoothing and smoothing everything over until it adheres, and it was adhering really well. So I was very happy with that. And I was making sure there was enough batting on the outside. I'm a little worried that I made it too close to the top, but oh well, we'll see what happens. But I think it will be fine. So I was a little worried of overspray as I extra sprayed those corners. I really like the corners to stick down good, because after you roll it and unroll it and roll it and unroll it to do the sit down quilting, it sometimes can loosen up. Sometimes I put a pin in there, and I may in the end decide to do that. But just putting something down over it before I spray so it doesn't get on the top. It's all water. It washes out with water, so I'm not really worried about it. But then I thought that plastic maybe wasn't a good idea. I might want to use that plastic and don't want it sticky. So I used a pillowcase that I had over there. Just a little extra spray to make sure the edges would stay. This didn't take as long as doing the first part of the video because the spraying itself took a while. This is just adhering it on there, and I explain a little bit about the adherence after this video. This is just to show you the process and that it does take time. I did take out my pins. I was going to pin that corner and I thought, well, what if I reposition it? I better just wait until I know for sure what I've got here. I could tell that I'm well over the back. There's plenty of backing fabric on this. The backing is bigger than the batting, so I'm not really worried about that. Just an extra touch up on the border. And you can fast forward a little bit if you want to, or just leave it running. I'll just talk over it until I'm finished. And every time I work with this top, I love it. I do love this quilt. So even though it was a bear, the first part of it was a bear to get the backing. The backing is always something because you always want to make it big and it's bulky and what have you. So that was a big part, but I still love the quilt. The front adhered so nicely. I was a little concerned because it got kind of cold in the shop overnight, and I know you're supposed to spray at a certain temperature, I'm assuming, so it's more active, but but it did not lessen the effect of the spray by letting the temperature go down. And it's been sunny here the last few weeks, so maybe it held a little more temperature. I just felt it was chilly in there, and I'm very happy that it still adhered good even though it was cold. So that's just about it. And so I'll hold it up. And you can see that it is sticking, kind of see the whole effect. That's just a wrinkle. That's not that it's stuck funny in that one line. So there we are. It is done and dusted and ready to be taken in the house and quilted. Okay, it's all basted. But then I noticed a little issue with the back. It sticks out, this border here sticks out a little bit, this block, more than the other side, and the other side it comes right to it. So I thought I'd matched the centers. I may reposition the back if that starts making me crazy, but it is the back. But I may reposition the back. But you might have noticed I sprayed a little extra on the borders because, I really want those to hold. Also, when you pin like 4 fingers width apart. As long as the adhesive adheres at least that many times, it's not going to shift when you're quilting. It may shift when I fold it up and drag it back in the house. Usually at this point I iron it. I do have an iron out here that used to be my mom's, and if I have an extension cord, I might iron it. And I only iron it because that like firms up the glue, I think, the adhesive. So I usually, because after you do the front, the back is often somewhat rippled. And so I usually do the back, press the back. But it doesn't even look too bad. So I'll have to decide if I'm going to reposition it to get the whole star block on or what, but that is how I baste a quilt. And that was my job for this month, was to get it all basted and ready to quilt. Now I'm going to go into my sewing room and I plan to take that melted piece off my machine. I talked with my husband about it, and for just over $100 I can get a replacement. So I'm going to think about that. But I think I can quilt this without that on there. I'll see. And if I can, maybe I don't need it. But I'll try, and if it's not working, then I'll have to wait till the new overlay of my table arrives so I can do that. But anyway, that's basting my quilt today. Okay, I may see you inside. So here we are back in the sewing room. You can see the ripple of that overlay already just sitting there. So this is real life. I put stuff on that table when I'm not quilting and I'm sewing and cutting. Now I'm moving all the stuff over to the cutting table, which I will probably just put it all away so I can use both the cutting table and the quilting table. But I have to move everything over. I have to take it off anyway because it's a big quilt I'm going to be bringing in. So it's self-adhered to that. The purpose of the overlay is so the stitch regulator will work as you're using it. But I haven't used the stitch regulator for a long time, so it may, oh, there you can see the melted section. Oh, that was awful. So I may be able to use it just fine without that overlay. We'll see what happens. So I'm back in my sewing room, and I did take this overlay off and everything I had moved over there on top of it because I haven't been quilting, so I keep putting stuff on it. So it's real. That's really what I have to do. Put everything away finally. But I got that overlay off, and I did call I found one online for $89, but I couldn't find the shipping on it, and it's kind of a big thing, so I know it's going to be over $100. Then I found one for $129, and I thought, well, if I am going to pay shipping, I am going to check locally. So I called my local, I'll say local, it's about a little over an hour away in Salem, Oregon, and it's an HQ dealer, and they can fix my bobbin winder, which is this, which just runs super slow. Can't show you. Which is this. It's very heavy. It goes with the machine, but it runs so slow I can't wind anything on it. So they will fix that, and they can order an overlay, but he didn't know the price for me. So it's better if I can get it semi-locally so that I can not have to pay shipping, and it might cost the same as if I paid shipping, but this way I can pick it up and just bring it home and put it on. I'm probably going to have to clean off the little sticky bits where it was self-adhered to the Formica tabletop. Or like I said before, maybe I'll quilt and it'll be fine. Anyway, that's my Thursday chat. It was nice chatting with you. And hopefully next week I'll have that quilt all rolled up and brought in here. I don't know if I'll start quilting it or not. I talked about the blocks being a little off on the back, but my girlfriend said, it's okay. They're straight, so just leave it like that. So that's what I'm going to do, is just leave it. And I'm going to bring it in, and hopefully it'll get all quilted nice, and I'll find some place I can hang it up good and you can see the whole effect. All right. Talk to you later next week. Bye.